Now, what does the term asylum mean, right? And how does it relate to those who have entered the country through the border or those who entered without inspection?
Right.
I'm like some
Sure.
clarification on that.
Asylum essentially is a concept that means you are seeking in this particular country the protection of the country from persecution that have happened or persecution that you fear might happen.
Yeah.
It's a concept in international law, and all of the countries who have signed those protections have basically agreed that should someone approach the country's borders to say, I have been persecuted in my home country, or I fear being persecuted in my home country, I am seeking your protection based on these grounds. The grounds are political, religious, if you are a member of a particular social group, for example, persons who are members of the LGBTQ community, persons who may be related to certain specific religious groups. They can also seek the protection of law, political persecution. So let's say you belong to country X, but you are the opposition leader, or you are, excuse me, you are someone in opposition to the party in power, and you have been speaking out passionately about the issues that are taking place, corruption, whatever it is. You can approach another country for its protection. And so persons will come to the borders, as some people have done, and present themselves to the authorities, whether it's the land border or the seaport borders, such as, let's say, I came to Miami and I said, I am Nadine, I'm seeking asylum here in the US because I am from country so, where I am in opposition to what is happening there politically. And they will give us, give me the necessary paperwork to complete and assess it as to whether or not I might have a viable asylum claim. So that's the short version.
But okay, but if they come through the border, is there a difference with coming through the border, right, as an asylum seeker, or the enter without inspection?
Yes.
Is there a difference?
There is an absolute difference, and that is such a great question because a lot of persons don't understand that. If you come to the border seeking asylum, you present yourself to the officers, the Customs and Border Patrol officers there, and you say to them, I am seeking asylum because these things have happened in my country where I've been persecuted, or I fear that these things might happen. And so you are put into the system, as it were, and you get documentation to go to immigration court to tell your story to the judge, or you, excuse me, they might give you paperwork to complete whereby you would actually go and see an immigration officer at USCIS. Enter without inspection now means that I've come and I've just snuck in. I have not seen any US immigration authority. That means none, I'm not in the system. That's the short version. If you've entered with inspection, you're not in the system.
Now, the islands, right? The Caribbean islands. I don't think any of those islands, any individuals from that islands would come over, seeking asylum on any of those conditions you mentioned, right?
You'd be surprised. You'd be surprised. We have persons who have come from several of our islands, several of our sister islands who've come here and sought asylum on religious grounds of political persecution in their home countries, persons who have said, well, I'm a member of a particular social group, and so I'm seeking the asylum protection of the United States. I must say, though, asylum is extremely difficult, pardon me, to prove. Because just as I said at the top of our program, you have to provide the documents. So it's all well and good to be able to say, boy, I'm going to seek some asylum in the US, because life rough in a jam down. And I head over. When I get here and I say to the officers at the border, I'm seeking asylum on this ground or that ground, and I write on that paper, it's the beginning of my interaction with the American government. I write on that paper, this is what is happening to me. I'm expected to present evidence about that.
Mm-hmm.
I might not have the evidence right now, and so they'll give you, obviously, you get time to prepare your information and to produce it. But when you are going to produce it, it cannot be inconsistent. So I can't be saying in 2020 when I came here that, well, I was a member of a religious group and we were hated, and everywhere we went, people stoned us and that kind of thing. And now, 10 years later, I'm saying, I was the head of the party X and these things were happening to me. That kind of gross and grave inconsistency is going to let the immigration system look upon you and say, something right or so. I understand. 10 years ago you said X, now you're saying Y. Well, go on. So that's something that we must recognize. And you have to have the documents to prove it. Mm-hmm. You must have the documents to prove it.